You can see I switched from the 20-ounce liquid deaths to the Topo Chicos.
Yeah, I switched to
'Cause-
some bubblies this week. I mean, I have to make sure that Ari is here just so we can fucking split one. Like, I've got them in the fridge, but I
yeah,
can't open one alone.
yeah. Like I'm not drinking 20 ounces in one sitting. Like by the time I get to the back half of it, it's fucking warm at that point.
It's insane how much liquid it is.
Yeah, dude, we fucked up not going to the Western Conference Finals tonight, honestly.
I was wondering if you were going to be going.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm assuming it's gonna go to 6 games at least, so I might catch them when
Yeah,
they come back around for game five. But nosebleeds were $250 for
I know. I
shit
looked.
seats. And it's
I
like,
looked because I was like, game one, I was like, maybe it won't be that bad.
yeah,
And yeah, they're
it's
horrible.
only gonna get worse too. But we'll see how it pans out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome or welcome back. This is Totally Biased Music, not sports. And I would say we have a normal episode for you today, but we don't. It is just Christian and I. We had to call an audible last minute because Trey is sick, quote unquote. I'm doing air quotes. Basically, what happened was he pitched a Pine Grove album to Christian and I. He knew that we would rip it to shreds, and he got scared and bailed last minute. His actual excuse is he's sick. I think he has wook flu. He hasn't been to a festival or anything recently, but I can just like he probably shared a cigarette with a homeless man or something and got extremely sick from it. Um,
100% what happened.
so
It's
he is
like
not here.
all it
We're
is in Asheville.
yeah, exactly. And we are not doing Pine Grove. Instead, we're going to do The House is Burning by Isiah Rashad. Christian, you kind of picked this one, so why'd you think it was a good album to do?
This was something that, like, I think at the beginning of last year, on my Discover Weekly headshots came up and it's off of this album. And I just fucking, I had no idea who Isiah Rashad was. And it was my first intro to him. Like, his voice lyrically, like, the song just made me fucking melt. That little intro, he's like, cool. He's like, I got a jam.
Yeah,
And then he
I got a
fucking
jam.
rides that
Yeah.
bitch. I got a jam. It goes into it. It's just fucking hooked me, and I started diving in and to this album and his previous works and all kinds of stuff by him, and came across Chad by him, which ended up being my 2022 top song on my Spotify Wrap for the year. I
Yep,
fucking
I
listened to
remember
it
that.
that much, and it is one of those songs that I can, without a doubt, rinse on fucking repeat, and it does not get old. And yeah, when we didn't know what to do when fucking Trey bailed with what flu from the homeless people in Asheville, we were like, the fuck do we
Like, let's
do?
call an audible.
And I was like, oh, this will be perfect. And it has been a minute since I've rinsed this album front to back, and holy fuck.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it just
it's
front to
fucking great.
back
It's fucking great.
rides.
And I hadn't listened to it like I listened to it when it first came out. I had listened to a little Isiah Rashad. But then this album came out and his Coachella show after this album came out was fucking nuts. Like I saw clips of it, I heard about it, it was crazy. And so I was like, all right, I need to listen to this whole album. And I mean, we'll get into it later, but there's just so many tracks on this that I listen to religiously. And like when we saw him at Bonnaroo, that was probably Bonnaroo last year was really hip hop heavy, which was awesome because Bonnaroo has never really been like that. And so there was a ton of hip hop shows I was excited for, but honestly, none more than this. And like he played at like 5 on Sunday, like sun was going down, and he just had a fucking killer set. And they came out, the mayor of Chattanooga, where he's from, came out and gave him a key to the city and told everybody that I think it was June 18th was now officially Isiah Rashad Day in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was
Fuck
fucking
yeah.
sick. And like you could just tell he was really happy about it and over the moon. And the show was, and like it was just Shania and I for the first half of it. Like the rest of our crew wasn't really excited about it, and we just had a fucking blast. So I've really enjoyed listening to the album again because it kind of took me back to last year.
Was it not like completely, was his show not just rowdy, like packed out, or at least just packed the fuck out with him being from Tennessee?
It was pretty, I mean, so it was midday and like, Sunday at Bonnaroo, it's like everybody's kind of dragging ass
It's tough.
where you
It's
go on
tough.
Sunday. And like, you can tell people in the crowd were really starting to feel it in their bodies from being there that long.
Oh, yeah.
So the pit was really active, but no, it was not like, I mean, he played on the Witch stage, which realistically he probably should have played like a tent, but it worked for like the vibe of his set. But it wasn't like packed like ass to dick like it would be for like a Saturday night show or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it was still enough people for it to be a really good time. So yeah, it was nice. So with that, you wanna just launch in the top three, just fucking start it off?
Yeah.
Go
Oof.
for it.
My number one, it has to be Chad, just because that song literally ran my fucking 2022 as far as anything that I listen to. It's just one of those ones. He
If I
says,
was a rapping baby.
he says, I just put a blades on a bulletproof range. I could cripple Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. I was like, bro,
So
this
sick.
is sick.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, the beat is great in it, and just like he has a lot of songs in the album that are like this, that are kind of just like boppy, like kind of head bop, like bounce up and down
Yeah,
songs.
it's just like these melty kind of like vibes, and his voice and like his lyrical style supplements them so well. They're not like this crazy production. It's just fucking smooth as butter.
Yeah, his voice is perfect for it too. Like his voice
Yeah.
just fits his type of music really well.
Yeah. My number two, I've got Headshots, just because that's how I was like introduced before even diving into this album. That little intro into the fucking beat is just, and the
Yeah.
lyrics. What does he say? Numero uno might just kick shit like judo, judo, giving out hoes, not kudos, kudos.
Yes.
Bro, like, what the fuck?
So-
It just slaps. And then number three, I've got R.I.P. Young. Say I'm a cool cat. Fuck that. Tell them bitches I'm a top dog, which is the label he signed to. I'm like,
yes. Yes.
really. And my honorable mentions, like Dark Side, All Herb, are classic on this album. And then even when I didn't like initially and started to dig this last listen through, was What You Said. It's like this vibey fucking like pimp album. Like if a real ass pimp had real ass hoes in like Brooklyn, this is like shit he'd be vibing around the streets to.
Yeah, dude. It like I don't know why when I re-listened today. When I got to What You Said, I just pictured somebody riding around in a convertible drinking orange juice. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like that was the
Yeah.
first thing that came to mind. It was just riding, nice sunny day in Los Angeles, and like top down drinking some orange juice. Like that's the
Yeah.
vibe it gives off.
Exactly. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah, those are all mine. Honorable mentions. I've got like half this album, I feel like, in my top, but fuck it.
Yeah. So ours is a little different. My number one top song, favorite song on the whole album is Claymore. I love the
Ooh.
way Claymore rides. Like it's slow, and just the way that he kind of does this like melodic sing song during the
Does that have
chorus.
Smino on
Like
it
it
too?
just yeah. And
Yeah.
he just like that song, and that's been my favorite song on this album since it came out. And when we saw him at Rue, he played the whole set and hadn't played Claymore. And I looked at Shania, I was like, if he finishes this set without playing Claymore, I'm going to be devastated. Last fucking song of the set closes with Claymore.
Yes.
I was so happy. Yeah. But I just love I love the beat on it. I love how it gets into like the crux of the beat, right? It starts at the beginning portion. There's like a soft beat. It like kind of lays out into this melodic, kind of wavy like beat. He does the intro, and then when he gets into it, it starts to pick up, which I think is really, really nice. Second one, R.I.P. Young. I love that song. That's what he opened Coachella with. That was like the first clip I saw. And he came out and he came out screaming. He was like, "You work to work, we late to work." And everybody in the crowd was just fucking bouncing up and down, going nuts. And so every time I listen to it, it just takes me to like a very happy, bouncy place for a hip hop song. Like I just love that song. It's very high energy and it's a lot of fun. And then Score with SZA and Black. I love this song. It's like it reminds you a lot of Claymore, but it's just like a peaceful song, and just it's a nice sound to it. And obviously SZA's fucking SZA. Like her feature is so she comes in and you're like,
it's
ah!
so good.
It's so fucking
That one
good.
might. No, never mind. I was like, I was curious what the streams were on that one, but it was one of my favorites too. That fucking just absolutely is such a fucking vibe.
Yeah, and that's actually surprising that you would think with SZA, because this was around the time SZA went through that kind of like random peak in her career where like I feel like everybody was listening to SZA.
And then just dropped off out of nowhere.
Yeah. And so I'm surprised that it doesn't have more listens, but I'm listening to it as I talk about it. But man, I just love that song a lot. And then honorable mentions, Headshots, fucking great, obviously. From the Garden with Lil Uzi Vert, track 2. Came out busting. That shit is so fucking good. And that song is extreme. That's like one of the probably the hypest song of the whole album. So that's definitely an honorable mention for me. And then Chad's also an honorable mention. I didn't have it in the top 3, but I do love that song.
Yeah.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
And I like, it's interesting his dynamic with, honestly, Top Dog as a label, like their dynamic is really fucking interesting. I mean, if you even just look at Kendrick and Schoolboy and Isiah, it's like all 3 very different types of rap music, right? Like specifically Isiah compared to Schoolboy Q. Like Schoolboy Q is hard ass fucking rap music. Like you're not going to show Schoolboy Q to someone who doesn't listen to hip hop and doesn't like hip hop, right?
Yeah, but it's like I see a lot of similarities looking at the top artists just for Top Dog Entertainment with Isiah Rashad, as far as maybe not, like Schoolboy being super hard, but I see similarities as far as like some of the production that Schoolboy uses and some of the production that's like through these other artists, like even Reason and Isiah Rashad with J Rock and Ab Soul. Like there are parallels there, I think, as far as the production.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think like one thing about him, I like that like labels kind of fall in this trap, especially like hip hop labels, where a lot of their artists start to sound super similar, and they all kind of like use the same producers and have the same sounds and have the same features. And I feel like when you look at Isiah into Schoolboy into Kendrick, like they all kind of have set their own tone and their own like vibe to their music that works individually for who they are, but they can still collaborate with one another and it'd be a good song. But I thought it was cool.
That's what I was gonna say, is like having them collaborate and it still work, and they still like supplement each other extremely well with like Schoolboy. Ab Soul, I know, works with Isiah Rashad and Reason a good bit. Reason and Isiah Rashad are on stuff together all the time, and their styles are perfect with like SZA too. It's like fucking an insanely crazy label.
Yeah, Reason too. Reason is very, when you resent me that song, I listened to it again. I was like, this dude fucking slaps. Like this shit is really good. Top Dog just so like good. They just have a label that's like, apart from Kendrick, none of their rappers are like, super popular mainstream rappers, but they still put out such great fucking projects. Like they just know how to make hip hop music. Okay, bottom 3. This was a little tougher for me. Because I just like the album so much. I like him so much that I don't want to pick bottom songs, but I do have a couple. But what did you have?
I actually only have 2 as well. It was really hard to pick from these. You're gonna hate this one, so I'm sorry ahead of time. But it's from the bottom from the Garden. Sorry, Lil Uzi Vert.
Really?
I've never been a huge fan of him, and I think one thing I realize is in some rap songs, I don't like when choruses are repeated almost to a fault, where it's that fucking came out bussin'. It's like, okay. It almost like kills me through a song.
Like maybe like 6 times. You can stop it 6 times.
Yeah. And towards the end, I was just like, all right, but the beat fucking rides. So
yeah.
My number 2 is Don't Shoot. And it's not really for any other reason other than I feel like the production levels make a really washed out sound to where the vocals aren't like clear throughout. The beat also isn't clear throughout, and then they kind of clash together. And that was really it. Just felt washed out. Like that was the only reason.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind of like I noticed that listening today. It's like that is really like the only way to describe it. It's like you can't really hear what he's saying, but then you can't really focus on the beat either. It's like this weird. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, and I like the beat. Like if it were an instrumental, like I would be like, this is really great. But there's something about when he gets on it that I don't know. They do a weird thing with his voice that just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like the levels are just washed out in the fucking production. It just clashes because his voice isn't some like super high, hard type thing. It has to like melt within everything else. And this just clashed hard. What about you?
So bottom three, this is weird. It was like a 3-track run for me, but it's basically 8 through 10. So Hey Mista, into True Story, into What You Said. It's weird, like honestly, I think the highlight of this album is like when he doesn't have features, or like when the features are very minimal. I think it really shines. So it's like Hey Mist I expected to really like, and I can't remember thinking back if I enjoyed it on the first listen, but his voice kind of is the same thing that you were just talking about on Don't Shoot. It's like this weird, like his voice is really soft, the production is really soft, and like I don't know, something is lacking there. I don't know exactly what it is, but it just doesn't really work for me. I mean, it may grow on me listening to it more. True Story, I really don't like anything about it, and I hate to say that because like I like J Rock, but like the J Rock and Jay Worthy feature don't do it for me. Isaiah doesn't do it for me. The beat doesn't do it for me.
It was just kind of there. And with those like features, I was expecting so much more out of it. And when it really started to get into it, I was just like, I was honestly kind of just let down in general.
Yeah. And when it goes into the chorus, like the chorus is really jarring. It like takes me out of the song. It's like they're kind of rapping and they're kind of on this like this hi-hat that they're hitting or snare throughout the whole song. And then the chorus comes in and it kind of just randomly stops and slows down. And I don't know. I don't like it.
It was on this wave where it almost had me hooked. Like I was like, okay, like I think, and then the chorus hit, and like you said, just pulled me right out of it. I was like, nope.
Just kidding.
Next.
Yeah. And then what you said is just boring to me. That's it. Like there's not any like specific critique with it. It's just like in an album that's to me has been really, a lot of it has been really fun and upbeat. And when it's not, it has kind of this beautiful melodic sound to it. What you said like falls somewhere in between, and it just falls short for me. Like it's just not really, doesn't really fit anywhere to me, which I thought was strange. But apart from that,
it's in my fucking honorable mention, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know. It doesn't
fucking rides.
It doesn't do it for me, but I mean,
fair.
16 tracks, like literally apart from that 3-track run, 8, 9, and 10, there's not much on this album that I do not like and don't want to listen to. You know, I like so much of it. He did such a good job. I want to get into Isiah like as a whole for a little bit. So I don't know if you knew this about his sex tape that leaked. Did you hear about all that stuff?
Yeah, with some guy, and he had like an interview. I think with I don't remember who he did an interview.
He did with Joe Budden
or somebody.
Yes, which like that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, so this sex tape leaked of him with another guy, and like obviously when that happened, like in the hip hop community, it's a fucking huge deal. Like they just don't. That's extremely forever for whatever reason that's been extremely frowned upon within the hip hop community. But this sex tape came out like basically against his will and kind of altered the course of his career and his mental state. And I think that The House is Burning is almost like a culmination of that, of kind of like where he was before the album came out and then when he started working on it and that sex tape leaked. And I thought it was crazy with Coachella. He opened the set with playing a bunch of clips of like hip hop personalities and media people talking about him. and like talking about how his career was over and how like it was such a catastrophe and all this stuff, and then he just comes out and with a fucking banger, like just comes out with R.I.P. Young, basically like, I don't give a fuck, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna do. And I thought it was really cool. But this Rolling Stone article they had was called Isiah Rashad Had the Courage to Start Over. And one of the questions they asked him was, so ultimately, what does the house is burning mean to you? And he said, it's like a scenario that either you can lay down with the flames or die from trying to hold on to the material things and shit like that, or you can get out in a timely manner. If it all burns down, you're still going to try to figure it out, right? Because if not, you might as well just lay in that motherfucker. You have to start over. Shit, sometimes you start over 2, 3, 4 times, 5, 6 times. It's just that type of shit. That's all it means. You got to have the courage to keep thinking. Like the shit they used to have on these walls, motioning to the classroom posters surrounding him, character traits, perseverance. And they said, the little posters with the white and black backgrounds. So you feel good about the album. You feel like you were courageous. And he said, I do. I feel like I'm courageous, which I thought was great. Like, I think he really nails it. Like he went through a bunch of shit and found a way, especially in a community that doesn't embrace that and doesn't accept it and encourage it, and found a way to come out of it, which I thought was fucking awesome. I think you can hear it in the album. Like a lot of it is fun and upbeat, and the ones that aren't are kind of introspective, which I really like about it.
Wait, so did the sex tape stuff happen prior to this album or after? Because I thought that it was after, and he was going to be like had like another album in the works and was going to be releasing something, and then like pretty much scrapped it because that sex tape got leaked or whatever.
Let's see. Let me look. I thought it was before, but I could be wrong about that. It may have been right after the album came out. 60 featured him. So when did this album come out? Can you look that up? Because this,
Yeah.
Try to address the podcast, latest Joe Budden podcast. Fucking Joe Budden. And that's another thing with that with that Joe Budden interview. Like, Joe Budden is such a fucking douche. The entire time he just like, you can tell he like doesn't like it and doesn't understand it and seem about it at all, and just keeps pressing him on like the most random shit. Like Isiah, like
this came out June 21.
Okay. So yeah, this happened early. So he did the interview in 2022.
Yeah, so what I think I think that he had stuff released, and people like in the community, in the rap community, were pretty much like raking him across the coals. So I think some of the songs on the new album were alluding to kind of like his new exploration and self and starting over, and people kind of were giving him a hard time about that being sexually fluid, and he pretty much scrapped the fucking album.
It's fucking crazy, dude.
Which just like, and for him to come out and do that interview and to talk about that kind of stuff, especially in community, that you're right, I feel like it just isn't very widely accepted, or even just like, without even being accepted, or just giving people the opportunity to be who they are and still accept their music and appreciate their music when they're these great artists. It's just, it sucks. Because it's just this environment that people don't feel comfortable enough to be themselves to put out great pieces of work.
Yeah, and that's like, it's crazy because there's people that are like, there are probably still people that are never going to listen to this album simply because of like that type of bigotry. Like they don't want to listen to music like that, and it's a great product, and it's just sad to see that he's kind of wrapped up in that. And it's sad to see that like the hip hop community as a whole is still on that train. Like they haven't moved past that, which I think is fucking pathetic. Like,
yeah.
And even like Lil Nas X, who's like, I'm not a huge Lil Nas X fan, but like the dude was insanely popular, and he's been open about how like other rappers don't want to work with him, and how the BET Awards have snubbed him from like awards that he should have won, essentially just because he's like a flamboyant gay man. And it's like, you're really going to discredit someone's discography because of shit like that. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, look at Prince.
Yeah, exactly. Look at I mean, look at Bass Nectar, I think there's something going on there too. So yeah, so the I couldn't find a Rolling Stone review of it, but Pitchfork gave it a 7.5. They said the TDE rapper returns to the newfound poise and even joy, taking R&B, Southern rap, and his Inimitatable lyrical style and casting into a sophisticated collage. So that's pretty solid. They Metacritic total reviews equal out to 82, which is also really solid. Clash gave it a 9 out of 10. So critically, I mean, I think critically it received decent reviews, and like obviously the fans loved it, which I thought was really cool because it's a good piece of work. But what do you think out of 10?
I'm going to give this, it might be one of my highest ratings I've ever done on the pod. I'm going to give this a 9.
Damn.
Front to back, like, I fucking love this album. I love just the vibe of it. And yeah, 9 for me.
Holy shit. That's a big one. I'm going to give it an 8. Which is also pretty high, but it's a fucking great album. And like I said, like those 3 tracks are the only ones I don't really enjoy listening to. And so I like as a whole, there's just pieces of it that really, really fucking work. I love his voice. I love the production on it. And I'm excited to see what he does next. You know, I didn't realize it was 2021 when this came out. So, I mean, it's been a hot minute since he's released something. So I hope within at least the next year that he comes out with something that, you know, we can listen to again. But he's a great artist, and I'm excited to see what he does in the future.
Yeah, he just put out a song with Reason and Kimbe X called
The Basement.
And him, yeah, which is pretty fucking cool. It's super, super slow, but it still rides.
Yeah, it kind of works for him. That style of music, like that style of hip hop, works for him, honestly.
Yeah.
But
and he pairs really well with Reason on stuff.
Yeah, and I like Reason's voice a lot too. Anything else you want to say about Isiah or the album as a whole?
Just be you, Isiah. If you're listening to this, just know, totally biased. We support you.
We support you, dog. We're your biggest fans. You know what? And we're all like, you know, kind of we're all fluid too with our sexuality, so we get it. Or at least me and Christian are. You know, I don't know about Trey. I don't know what he's got going on. Trey may be, you know, full gay, maybe on the fence. We haven't figured it out yet. So hell yeah. That was The House is Burning, Isiah Rashad. If you haven't listened to it, please go listen to it. It's really fucking good. I think you guys will really enjoy it, especially if you like hip hop music. Even if you don't, I think it's an album that people can listen to and enjoy if they're not big hip hop fans. So give it a shot. All right, you want to move on to some rides or dies?
Let's do it.
Tell me introduce your song real quick so I can pull it up.
Damn, bro, straight up. I forgot what I sent you. It's fucking hell.
I have it in my text. I can go look.
Yeah, I got it. It's called Sound Pellegrino. There we go. It's by Low Poly, who I had found just, I think a few months ago, and just kind of came across the song, and it's got like this fucking, it's kind of got a little Skrill Dog vibe. It's kind of got it's just a little heavier on the dubstep side, but I've been riding it a bunch recently.
Hell yeah.
It's by Low Poly.
Why is this like so hard for me to find on Spotify? Like, okay, there it is.
I don't know.
What the fuck is going on, dude? I'm gonna fast forward it into when it really picks up. I think it's like this far in.
Close enough.
Hell yeah, dude. So this shit rides, man. This is hard as fuck. And I like I did not expect this going into it. When you said like it gave Skrillex vibes, I thought that it was gonna be kind of his newer stuff. And then when this shit dropped, I was like, it took me by surprise. I was on my couch like, oh fuck, bro. So it was really good. I like it a lot. Where did you find these guys?
I think on SoundCloud. Some shit just randomly pulls up or somebody's like reposting something. I'm like, oh, let's see how this goes.
Yeah, hell yeah. I like it a lot.
Fuck yeah.
So hard rides for me. My song is Drug Dealers Anonymous by Jay-Z and Pusha T. Um, and honestly, I don't even know where to start because I love both the verses so much. I'll start with Pusha T's. I think it starts around here. This is not the song. Whoops.
Yeah.
No, see, they
Okay, so what do you think?
I mean, dude, Pusha, just like if you put on Pusha and it doesn't immediately make you want to go do illegal shit, illegal ass shit, then like something is fucking wrong with you. This shit rides.
Dude, it
Rides.
is one of my favorite lines. I stopped it right before it, but he says, "After all, I can make a call. I can baptize a brick as I wash away my sins like a Catholic. Who the fuck ain't mastered this? America's nightmares in Flint, children of a lesser god when your melanin's got a tent." So fucking sick, dude. But really, to me, the highlight is the Tommy Loren sample. Do you remember Tommy Loren?
No.
She was a newscaster on Fox News. She had long blonde hair. You'd recognize her if I sent you a picture of
Oh
her.
yeah. I do.
So Jay-Z flips a sample of her saying, "Your husband was a drug dealer. For 14 years, he sold crack cocaine." And it was her talking about Beyonce, but she's talking about Jay-Z selling drugs. And he fucking flips it, uses the sample, and the whole verse is basically about how he like beat his charges. And like, I love Jay-Z's verse. Like, but the funny thing to me is like, it really is the perfect allegory for like, he talks about it in the verse, but it's like the perfect allegory for how this country views criminals, because like he was a criminal in his past, but now like he's a Republican's wet dream, dude. He's a billionaire.
Oh, yeah.
Like he owns sports teams. Like he's an entrepreneur. Like he's this successful businessman, but all they're ever going to see him as, because he's a black man, is a criminal. Like that'll never change people like that. And so I think the verse is fucking sick. Although I gotta ask you how you feel about this line at the very end. "Counting with my right, whipping white with my left wrist. Damn, Daniel, FBI keep bringing them all white vans through." How did that age to you? Because I still listen to it and cringe a little bit, because like the damn Daniel means super funny then.
Yeah, the fact that it's damn Daniel, I'm like, God damn it. If you just left that out, we could have just, everything would have been great.
It would have been perfect to end it with "counting with my right, whipping white with my left wrist."
Yeah, that's all we needed.
Then he had to throw in the damn Daniel reference. Which I think
some
like
funny. Fucking intern like for the production company, he was like, fucking hell, like look at this meme, and he's like, damn Daniel. He's like, I'm throwing this on the track. Immediate fail. So bad.
It just aged poorly, but still,
yeah,
great song, great verse.
Hell yeah. Rods.
Okay, so we're gonna mix it up a little bit here. I got some bangers for you today.
Let's do it.
I had to come correct taking Trey's segment from him. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second iteration of Blake's terrible Twitter takes. I am your host, Blake. Okay, so these all stem from one tweet, and the tweet is, what's a tweet that's so canonical in your mind you make shorthand references to it even if people might not know what you're talking about? So it's people posting screenshots of those tweets. So the first one is a set of 4 tweets, and it says, anytime I'm at the grocery store, I think of this guy's tweets. First one, getting escorted out by a grocery store staff at closing time. Come on, guys, just one last grocery. Next tweet, long lines at the grocery store. New grocery must have come out. Next one, waiting in line to get into Trader Joe's with all the other grocery fans. Next one, got to the grocery store just in time. Got the last grocery.
That's fucking great.
And then this one you're gonna love. This one comes from Bravo Cooley. He says, you could do anything on 2007, 2012 Twitter. I showed people how to cook crack in the microwave and nothing happened. Now I can't even call a fat bitch fat.
It's a sad world that it has become.
It really is.
Sad world. Send the flood.
This one is this is from a girl. I feel the need to preface this tweet with this. A woman tweeted this, but the tweet is, I do not support all women. Some of you bitches are very dumb. Okay, here's another one. This person said, why the mafia isn't a fucking aesthetic, a thread. And then someone responded and said, I cook a pizza. And they responded to them and said, go fuck yourself. Seriously, I can't with these people anymore. I hate you all from the bottom of my heart, you ignorant pieces of shit. Okay, this one reminded me of you.
Oh, great.
I never tip male waiters. Hit the oil rig, N-word.
I mean, honestly, let's talk about a day's work, bitch.
Honestly. Okay, I got 2 more. And this is the second best one. So it's this guy tweeted, I'm high. I made this hamburger helper with no milk. This shit tastes like cargo pants. And someone said, why do you know what cargo pants taste like? And he just said, I be in situations. Since I read that tweet a week ago, I've been casually dropping whenever I get into a predicament. I be in situations.
Anything that happens.
And then here is the magnum opus. 38-year-old girlfriend who still says sweet summer child. Quote, they're debating whether PAWGS is a slur, and I just can't with this hell site today. Me who heard PAWG and got so hard that I got nauseous. I think I have COVID.
Dude, what I mean, just one of my immediate, like, porn time comes around, PAWG, like the first thing I'm pulling up.
I type
it in all caps every time. I don't type it in lower caps when I'm searching it.
Of course, you have to. So yeah, those are my favorite. I have them all saved because like they just make me laugh whenever I'm having a bad day.
Wait, what does PAWG stand for?
Fat ass white girl. But
hell yeah.
PHAT.
Yeah, PHAT. All right, cool. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Christian, you got anything else to say?
That's it. I'm freaked up. You said PAWG. I'm ready for this shit to end, bro.
You got so hard I got nauseous.
I think I have COVID.
Okay. Well, guys, it was a short one, but there's only 2 of us, so we hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully Trey will be recovered by then. He may have COVID, or I don't know. You might have watched the POG video. We're not sure. But we hope you guys enjoyed it. So, Christian, thanks for doing a duo episode. It was fun, bro.
Yes, sir. See ya. Bye.